ישר, ורק אתה יכול להפוך מספדי למחול, לזכך את החול, לרכך בי הכל, ורק אתה מבין איך לגשת ללב שלי, משכך כל כאב שבי, מרפא את הלב. הלב שלי נקרא לשניים, חציו השם וחציו לשם שמיים, כמו סופה מן הים עולה, כמו תופעה של מרים טועה, בין תרופה בעולם ללב. ורק אתה יכול להפוך מספדי למחול, לזכך את החול, לרכך בי הכל, ורק אתה מבין איך לגשת ללב שלי, משכך כל כאב שבי, מרפא את הלב. יש עצר שמציק לצור, ואין ציר שיצק לצור, רק אני מול ים שלם ולב שבור, ורק אתה יכול להפוך מספדי למחול, לזכך את הכל, לרכך בי הכל, ורק אתה מבין איך לגשת ללב שלי, משכך כל כאב שבי, מרפא את הלב. ורק אתה יכול להפוך מספדי למחול, לזכך את החול, לקדש בי הכל, ורק אתה מבין איך לגשת ללב שלי, משכך כל כאב שבי, מרפא את הלב.
How's it, guys? Welcome, welcome. I'd like to welcome you all to the Lagbo Omer program. As you know, we do have a couple of speakers, most unbelievable speakers that are coming in and are part of this program tonight. We are just giving another minute or so for the one speaker to come on. I'm sure he'll be on in any minute. But just give you a quick structure of how the evening is going to work. So the formality side of it, the formal side is going to be, we have the first speaker will be, I'll give a short few words, then a song or two, Svi Sperber, who I'll give an intro to and a song or two. Thereafter, we'll have our soldier, Levi, who I see is already on. He will then say a few words, his history, and then again, we'll play one or two songs. And I'm happy to turn to a bit of a Fabrengen Kumzis for the night. We have a lot of other people and other rabbis and speakers who might be joining on as the night goes on. I haven't put a time limit to it, so the real formal side will probably run for an hour. And then this can go as much as you want. There's l'chaims available. We go for it and play it accordingly. So I'm going to give it another 1 or 2 minutes. We'll play one more song, and then we will start the actual formal program itself. Please get yourself a bonfire going. Please get yourself some l'chaims, and please let's get ourselves started.
את יודעת אין משוגעים כמוני, אני אסע גם לאילת, גם בשלוש בלילה. אקח את המפתחות בשקט, יצא כמו רוח מהדלת, גם הדלת לא תרגיש שנעלמתי. 2 דקות אצלך בערך, כביש מהיר אני בדרך. תחזרי הביתה, בואי תחזרי הביתה אליי. שמישהו יעצור אותי, יחזיר לי את הראש שלי, כי כולם ישנים ורק אני לא מוצא דקה של שקט. זאתי באה, זאת הולכת, נגמרו כל האנשים שבעולם. מטורפות כמוך, כשאבוא תצעקי ותלטפי בשקט. תגידי לי שאת אוהבת, אבל שונאת אותי ממש כמו מדינה עוינת. 2 דקות חיבוק בדלת, את עומדת מבולבלת. תיכנס אליי הביתה, נו תצא לי מהלב, עד שהתגברתי משוב אתה חוזר. שמישהו יעצור אותי, יחזיר לי את הראש שלי, כי כולם ישנים ורק אני לא מוצא דקה של שקט. זאתי באה, זאת הולכת, נגמרו כל האנשים שבעולם.
How's it, guys? Welcome to this most incredible, inspirational, unbelievable Lag BaOmer evening. I know a lot of people asked me if I was going to do a live DJ session on my roof, whether we keep that for Saturday night. We are not doing that for tonight. Lag BaOmer is a time, not so much we're going to DJ, that is a time for simcha and enjoyment, but it's actually very much a time for us to tune in to our inner true selves. It's a day of the Yosef or Shimon Bar Yochai, a man who is the father of Kabbalah, a man who's involved with the inner sense of finding the inner soul. It's a time of when the terrible plague of Rabbi Akiva's 24,000 students that were passing away, that began to stop passing away in Lag BaOmer. And therefore tonight and tomorrow is a time of absolute celebration. It's a time of finding your true inner soul. Exactly this time last year, I was with a group of people in Poland. We're doing a trip to Poland through all the different camps and the historical places of Poland. Elimelech Blizhan's cave we went to, actually, funny enough, same day. And we really spent our time around. One of the most incredible stories that stuck with me, which I think really does talk to the energy of the day itself. The story told, Rav Yitzchak Alevi Herzog was the chief rabbi of Israel in the late 30s and going into the 40s and so on, the Ashkenazi chief rabbi. And one of the things he found an absolute mission to do in his life was to go and collect and find all the Jewish children, all the Jewish boys and girls that were put into the monasteries throughout Europe, of parents trying to hide their kids so they don't get killed and butchered and decimated with the other over 1 million plus kids that were killed in the Holocaust. And he comes in 1946, we're told he's traveling through Europe. Rabbi Herzog comes to a monastery and he comes up and he sees a reverend mother and he says, I've come here to collect my Jewish kids. He says, no problem, Rabbi, you can have them all. However, how are you going to know who's who? How are you going to be able to find which kids are which? They've been here for months, some for years. Some of them came as absolute babies. How will you ever know who are your kids and who are not? You have nothing to recognize. You've got no signs. He says, put them all into the hall, bring them all together, and let me take a fly. I know which are my Jewish kids. Rabbi Herzog walks into the hall filled with kids, and he looks around the hall of these blank eyes looking at him. And he stands up and says, Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. And with that, dozens and dozens of kids come running up to him. Some of the kids were told answered Baruch Shem. Many kids screamed Mame, many kids screamed Tate, Daddy and Mommy. Because at that point, no matter what they went through, he managed to ignite and find that inner Pintele Yid, the true Yid inside of every single one of them. Lag BaOmer is a day. Tonight and tomorrow is a day where we tune to that inner Pintele Yid. Where each and every one of us, during these challenging times, and I actually think almost operationally incredible times at the same time, times where they have huge opportunity. But it's time for us to find our Pintele Yid, tune into ourselves, find ourselves, and find who we really are. We're going to play one song, and thereafter, our first speaker will talk.
Saw the pain in mother's eyes, who left her little precious boy.
Come on, speak it again. Frozen again. Speak frozen. Speak it again. Sorry, guys, we've just had a glitch in the system. Our system's just frozen. We are just unfreezing it. I do apologize. Can we do it on my phone? Can I take it? I need to be able to run this program with you. What's frozen? Computer. Damn it. It's not going to help you.
הגיע הזמן להתעורר, לעזוב הכל, להתגבר, לשוב הביתה, לא לחפש מקום אחר. הגיע הזמן להשתנות, גם אם פספסנו תחנות, אפשר לרדת, יש רכבת, חזרה לשכונות. הכל אפשר רק אם נרצה, המחפש תמיד מוצא, גם אם הוא נמצא שם הרחק בקצה. דלתות שמיים לא ננעלו, כשהבן קורא הצילו, אבא שבשמיים מגיע אפילו שעשינו משהו רע, הוא מוחל וסולח, מוחל וסולח, מושיט ידו לעזרה, ונותן ברחמיו את הכוח לתקן ולשוב אליו. כבר לקחת, אז לקחת בשביל לתת. וזה הזמן להתקרב, לא לפחד מהכאב, ואם לתת אז כבר לתת מכל הלב. הכל אפשר רק אם נרצה, לחפש תמיד מוצא, גם אם הוא נמצא אי שם הרחק בקצה. כתות שמיים לא ננעלו, כשהבן קורא הצילו, אבא שבשמיים מגיע אפילו שעשינו משהו רע. הוא מוחק וסולח, מוחק וסולח, מושיט ידו לעזרה, ונותן ברחמה את הכוח לתקן ולשוב. אפילו שעשינו משהו רע, הוא מוחק וסולח, מוחק וסולח, מושיט ידו לעזרה, ונותן ברחמה את הכוח לתקן ולשוב אליו. הגיע הזמן להתעורר, לעזוב הכל, להתגבר. חי ולא בכוח, רק בשם ומלכות. כשזה יבוא, זה יבוא, זה יבוא, בלי מקום לטעות.
Right. I'm hot. I've just cleared everyone in.
How's it, guys? I really do apologize for that problem. Naturally, obviously, my computer had to become a problem, obviously link up in the middle and have an issue. So we do have with us the most incredible guy. The guy actually took us and was a person who ran with us in Poland to run the entire program with us. And therefore, Tzvi Sperber, the most unbelievable, inspirational, super guy, will now be coming on and giving us a few words. Tzvi, you're now unmuted, you can talk.
There. He's there. Oh, he's muted. Why is he muted again? I unmuted him. Yes.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good. So first of all, hi everybody from Israel. Happy Lag BaOmer to everybody. Lag BaOmer, as you know, is a little different this year, but we'll get to that in a second. But in my neighborhood in Mount Bet Shemesh at the present moment, there are lots of trucks that are going around, lots of music that's blaring from various different cars and everything else that's happening. okay, here in the neighborhood. But I wanted to speak a little bit about something to do with Lag BaOmer and connect it also to the time period that we're living in. So firstly, let me say this. Last year was incredible. We stopped in the middle of the road, for those people who were with us, and we took over a bar. We managed to get the guy who owned the bar to bring us some logs of wood, and we made a bonfire, okay, in the middle of the Polish countryside with these non-Jews watching and trying to understand what is this day. And for many people, I think as well, who are on the journey with us, it may well have been the first time that they celebrated Lag BaOmer too. So let me just give a sort of a quick recap to certain things that may have happened on Lag BaOmer before we get to the famous one, which of course is Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. So when we connect ourselves to Poland, there's a number of things that take place, okay, in Poland on that day. Number one is the famous yeshiva, Yeshivat Chachmei Lublin, which is the yeshiva which became, if you want, the flagship for all Talmudic schools. It's founded on that day. But more importantly, from the 16th century onwards, this is going to be the yahrzeit, the anniversary of the death of the man who will be known, if you want, as the Maimonides of Poland, the man who will give us the A to Z of how to be a Jew, a man known as the Rama, Rabbi Moshe Isserles. And for many, many years, until this very day, even tonight, I received photos of Polish people who are at his grave, Jews from Poland who are at his grave, okay, commemorating the fact that this is the day of his death. This also, though, for most of us, okay, I'm sure that many of us grew up, and I know that in South Africa, you had a strong youth movement basis. And many of us grew up in the youth movement. So this was the youth movement's birthday. In fact, I grew up in the youth movement called Bnei Akiva. This is Bnei Akiva's birthday in 1929. Bnei Akiva is founded, okay, and it's also known as the Zionist Youth Movement's day that they adopted. And we have in 1916, it's the first time that they decided to take this to the streets. In the streets of Warsaw, they go out and they march in the streets of Warsaw. And this is how it's reported in the newspaper on the day. It says Judaism came out on the streets of the city with an outstretched arm. And we weren't afraid. Again, we weren't afraid of the Cossacks. We weren't afraid of the pogroms, right? The youth and the children marched in the city with their flags held high, proudly in front of them, okay? Ready for anything, to take on anything. Lag BaOmer is, of course, also the foundation of the Palmach, the Plugat Machatz, the strike force of the Israeli army, which predates the Israeli army. It's the force which will then be involved in the battles in the War of Independence, trying to keep the road to Jerusalem safe, the roads in the Negev, the roads in the Galilee, okay, Plugat Machatz. And of course, they will then be integrated later on, because in 1948, it will become as well the birthday of the IDF, of Tzahal. All of these days, okay, excuse me, all these events will take place on this day. You've got the Palmach, you've got Tzahal, you've got all the youth movements, okay, and they're all taking us all the way back to the day which we're going to get to in a second. But Ben Gurion declared in 1948, and this is what he wrote. He said, without the planning experience, the command, the fidelity, and the spirit of the Haganah, who of course ruled over, if you want, many of the groups that fought in 1948, and that's not all of them. I'm sure that many of us are familiar with Menachem Begin's group that weren't under Haganah. We would not have stood the bloody threat that we faced during the last 6 months. Now, he says, a new chapter there opens. A regular army of the state of Israel. The army of liberty and independence in Israel will be established in our own country in accordance with the temporary government, because there wasn't a full government at the time because the British were still there. We now order that the army will be entrusted with the security of the people in the homeland, and the statement will be visible to all the armies to be united under one banner. We'll build an army, the moral strength of every soldier and commander fulfilling his role. They'll make the Israeli Defense Forces an assurance for peace for our nation and for the state that will be. Well, that's it. Okay, we have the IDF that comes into being, and we know it to be one of the most important symbols, of course, of Israel and the most moral army in the world. But this year, there's something which is different to Lag BaOmer than to any other year. When I look here at different people's videos here, I can see Darren's video's got a bonfire. Okay, I saw Rabbi Ash was with his bonfire and marshmallows in the background. There's only 3 bonfires in Israel this year. We're not allowed to have bonfires in Israel this year. They want to be able to make sure that there's not too much social, if you want, mixing. Only up to 50 people are allowed to sit with social distancing and with masks on. And partly, by the way, this is because Ramadan is at the moment as well. You can't allow the Jews to do this when the Arabs are not allowed to do this. Can't open the shuls when the mosques are closed. And so it's a very different Lag BaOmer. But there must be a message why we haven't got bonfires on every street corner. Okay, and those any one of you that have been to Israel before over Lag BaOmer will know that. And I think there's a very deep message here. So I want to take you now through the whole history, okay, of why. And I think this is it. You know, before the light, we have the darkness. And that darkness, we need to go through the dark. So we awaken in the morning, we're able to get out of bed and start the day. The Baal Shem Tov's grandson, the founder of Hasidut, would take the Zohar, which we attribute written by Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who, of course, this whole story is going to explode under Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, because many, many thousands of people every year, usually, would go up to his grave in Meron. He would dance, the Baal Shem Tov's grandson, with the Zohar. And he says as follows. He used to dance and say these words, which I don't know how to say them in Yiddish, I'm sorry. I know you and you know me. Well, we're not on the level of the founder of Hasidut's grandson, okay? And we don't know Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. So what's he talking about? What's it got to do with us? I know you and you know me. And I think there's something really deep here. The Zohar, which is attributed to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the inner light, it's to awaken every one of us to know each other, to be able to know that I love you because you're a Jew. I love you because you're my brother, you're my sister. And yeah, I know you just like you know me. There's no more hiding behind masks. There's no more hiding behind walls. And I think that that's what we've been taught as well with Zoom. We're all on this Zoom. I can see you from across the other side of the world, and we're on Zoom. And there is this sort of security that people have on Zoom, but they're able also to open up. Think about it. A rabbi or a public speaker likes to be able to have something in front of them, a pulpit or whatever it may be in front of them. Why? It's not just to put the books on. That's not the idea. Yeah, it's good that I've got my papers there, my books and whatever else it may be. But there's something else that's happening there. He has this security in front of him. He's able to feel secure much more. What we're doing now is we're training ourselves to get through Zoom and to get through this period of COVID-19 to really meet each other again and to learn to hug each other once more. But why do we need to go through the darkness before we can get to the light? Why do I need to have this period here? So I think there's many other things. One of them is this. You know, look at our tzaddikim, our great Hasidic rabbis. So many of them had dark periods. And, you know, Rabbi Ash being a Lubavitcher, and Lubavitchers know how to drink, l'chaim to everybody, by the way, l'chaim. Okay, Lubavitchers know how to drink. And there's a famous story of the Lubavitcher before he was the Rebbe in Berlin. Okay, people didn't know who he was, and this is a story told about him. They didn't know who he was, and he never used to really mention anything. But one time on Purim, he had a little bit too much to drink, or he had to drink the right amount, who knows? And they say that he got out in the streets of Berlin, he got up and started speaking. Now, this is forbidden at that time in Berlin. The police came and took him away. And he's stuck in jail, and the only person that he really knew was somebody who's another very famous rabbi. His name was Yosef Ber Soloveitchik, okay, who was the founder of Yeshiva University. We picked up the phone, or they got in touch with him to be able to get him to come and bail him out. And when Rav Soloveitchik comes to bail out the Rebbe, okay, he says to him, you can taka now be the future Rebbe, because most of your Rebbes have been in prison before. Okay, and if you know the stories of the Alter Rebbe and all these other Rebbes who spent, unfortunately, time by being locked up by the Russians and many other different authorities being stuck in prison. But in order for us to be able to do this, we need to understand what it means to go into the darkness to have Lag BaOmer. In order to do that, you've got to go back to the source. And the source is, of course, the Talmud, which mentions the story of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva has 24,000 students. It says the Rabbi Akiva students stopped dying on this day, but we don't have the full blast Lag BaOmer that we have today coming from the Gemara. But Rabbi Akiva's life is fascinating, okay? Because what Rabbi Akiva manages to do is he gives a man of inspiration, a man who we can learn so many lessons from. Remember, Rabbi Akiva's most important principle is love your neighbor as yourself. Doesn't matter who you are. Okay, I love you. Just as Hashem loves his children. He grabs opportunities, and there's so many things that he teaches us. Think about the story, the most famous story of Rabbi Akiva. Walks into a cave. He sees water dripping on the rock. He says, if water can do this to a rock, make an indentation, then surely something could happen to me. I'm a man of 40 years old. I've never learned Torah. I've never delved into this. Surely something could happen to me. And Rabbi Akiva said, you know what? Carpe diem. Let's seize the day. Seize the day. And he seized the moment. Many of us would have said, wow, that's amazing. Just walked out. He seized the moment. Okay. And when he was 40, he started to learn Torah with toil and sweat until he became the most famous Talmudist ever. Rabbi Akiva didn't coin the term behind every great woman is behind every great man is a great woman. No, no, no. He said next to the great man is a great woman. Next to the man is the great woman. And that's Rachel, his wife, who teaches incredible lessons as well of the sacrifice that she made in order for Rabbi Akiva to be able to go off and learn Torah. But apart from that, Rabbi Akiva personally witnessed so many tragedies of the Jewish people. His entire life work of 24,000 students gone in a puff, finished. In 33 days, everybody's dead. But he doesn't stop. And this is a major lesson to us. He perseveres on. And as it's told to us, he gets 5 students. That's all he wants. 5 students to replace the 24,000. Doesn't need anyone else, just these 5 students. But who were these 5 students and what do they teach us? So Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, we know, and we're going to talk a little bit, just to touch on him in a second. But let's pick the other 4 that not all of us remember. Number 1 is Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes. Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, he has a beautiful grave in Tiberias. And by the way, one of the reasons that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's yahrzeit is today is because Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes' yahrzeit is the 14th of Iyar, and today's the 18th. So if they're going up to Tiberias, let them continue on to Meron, up by Sfat. There are lots to learn from him, and of course, his wife is very famous as well, Bruria, one of the only women to be mentioned in the Gemara by name. But Rabbi Meir, I'm just going to just mention one thing maybe about each one. Rabbi Meir says there are 2 types of friends. There are those who rebuke you, and there are those who don't rebuke you. He says, love the ones that rebuke you. A real friend will tell you the truth. A real friend will stand up and mention what we need to improve in life. He's mentioned many times in the Mishnah, but not as many as Rabbi Yehuda Bar Elai, who many of us don't even remember. Rabbi Yehuda is mentioned more than 600 times, more than anyone else he's mentioned in the Mishnah. And there's 2 beautiful stories of Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda, saw the destruction of the temple. He was so poor. And they say that Rabbi Yehuda's Talmidim, his pupils, didn't have enough money. And so they used to share the talit of Rabbi Yehuda under 6 students. Now, those of you that came to Poland will remember this, but I told a story, and it comes literally from this story. The story is, of course, of Howard Schultz, who was the founder of Starbucks, and Rav Nissim Frankel, Rav Nissim Tzvi Frankel, who was the Rosh Yeshiva of the Mirei Yeshiva, probably the largest yeshiva in Israel. After the war, he passed away a number of years ago. Now, they went to see him in Jerusalem. Howard Schultz and these top businessmen from America went to see him. And Rav Finkel, they didn't know at the time, but was severely afflicted by Parkinson's disease. And they were waiting for him 10, 15 minutes. And finally, Rav Finkel comes in, and he's shaking all over. And they didn't want to look at him. They were embarrassed. But then he banged on the table and he said to them, gentlemen, you look at me. Look at me. And his speech was very hard. And he said, I've only got a few minutes with you because you're very top businessman. And then he said to them this, who could tell me what the lesson is from the Holocaust? And so they said they were all embarrassed. They didn't know what to ask. You know, we're top businessmen. We felt like a principal was now speaking to us in school. And he said, one of the guys said, we'll never forget. And the rabbi dismissed it. Another one said, we'll never ever be victims or bystanders. And he dismissed this, and he dismissed that. And they totally didn't know what to answer, Rav Nosson Tzvi Frankel. Until finally, the rabbi said, you don't get it, do you? said, gentlemen, let me tell you the essence of the human spirit. As you know, the Shoah, the Holocaust, the people were transported in the worst possible conditions, inhumane, by rail cars. They thought they were going to a work camp, and then finally they arrived in places like Auschwitz after hours and hours of inhumane behavior by the Nazis against us. We arrived to the camps. Okay, we arrived in the camp, to the barracks, and we went to the bunk to sleep. And there was one bed for 6 of us. But more to the point, there was only one blanket for 6 of us, just like the talit of Rabbi Yehuda. And he says to him, wow, I'm going to keep the blanket for myself. Am I going to push the blanket to the 5 other people who did not get one? Or am I going to pull it to myself? And Rav Finkel said this. It was during this defining moment that we learned the power of what human spirit really is, because we pushed the blanket to the other 5 people. And with that, he stood up to Howard Schultz and to his friends. Take your blanket, take it back to the States, and push it to 5 other people. Rabbi Yehuda's wife would share her coat. They only had one coat between the 2 of them. And in the day, he would take it to the Bet Midrash, to the study house. And at night, she would have the coat when she went out. The 3rd unbelievable student was a man called Rabbi Yosef ben Chalafta. And if we remember one thing that Rabbi Yosef ben Chalafta said, wanted to be able to do, it was to unite the 2 schools of thought, Shammai and Hillel. Didn't want them to argue. He always looked for a compromise in life. Today, we need to find that too. And then we have, of course, Rabbi Eliezer ben Shumar, okay, who, I'll just mention one thing. He was the one that Rabbi Akiva would always say about him. If there was a class going on and he came in late, he never tried to barge his way to find a seat in the middle because he didn't want to disturb the students who were learning or the teacher. He made sure that he was the one who would sit at the side so he wouldn't disturb anybody. All of them teaching us this concept of respect and honor for each other. Something which we heard from Rabbi Akiva's original students that they died for. But then we get to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai lived in a cave for 13 years. He sacrificed his life to make sure that Am Yisrael would succeed. And then we talk about the bitter end of Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who was with him to that bitter end. But I think there's something else that we need to know. All these people went through tremendous, tremendous suffering in order that that light of that bonfire can be bright today. It's by no coincidence that Lag BaOmer sits just before Bahar B'Chukotai, the Sedra, the Parsha that we're about to read this week. And in B'Chukotai, we have the curses. We have these curses which are terrible for Am Yisrael, for the people of Israel. And after that, we have a whole section of the Torah which tells you how much you're valued. If you're worth this much, you have to give this much to the temple. And it's weird. They once asked the Bluzhev Rebbe, who went through the Holocaust, who was in some of the worst places, in Yanovska, outside Lvov, and other places like that. And if you've ever read Hasidic Tales of the Hasidic Tales of the Holocaust, much of it by Yafa Eliach is about him. And they asked him about this. And he said this: as you know, I went through the Shoah, I went through the camps. I saw Jews every day, their entire day, being beaten, humiliated, broken. But we go back to the barracks towards the end of the day, and the sun had still not set. And then I would see the most incredible scene. The Jews were lining up in a line in order to put on the tefillin shel yad. They only had the hand. They didn't have the head of the tefillin, but they only had the hand. They were lining up in a line to be able to do that. He said, I saw all the curses. I lived through them even more than the Torah tells us. But if you want to know what you're worth and how valuable your life is, just like the portion after the curses, you have to know what it's like to be in the cave. And when you know what it's like to be in the cave and how your faith can continue and get even stronger, only then are you going to understand the secret of life. Lag BaOmer is about taking that light which comes from the darkness of those last 33 days and brightening up our life. Lag BaOmer is about saying to every one of us that we can see on this Zoom that I want to be part of your life. Lag BaOmer is about saying a l'chaim to each and every one of us. And that God willing, we won't have to do this much longer, but we'll be able to be in person together and we'll be able to dance at each other's smachot. This Shabbat, we had a Shabbat Chatan on my balcony minyan, because we have a balcony minyan here. And opposite me is a Chatan who's getting married tomorrow. So he's getting married. He's got 50 people at his wedding tomorrow. That's it. Okay, in his garden. And then tomorrow night, all of the neighborhood who know him are getting together to have a drive-by, okay, past his house, singing and dancing in their cars, because we're not allowed to meet. But God willing, things will come out of this darkness and there'll be an unbelievable, beautiful, bright light after this. So I wish you all a wonderful day, that we should learn the lessons of Lag BaOmer and we should be able to take from the darkness to build the light. L'chaim to everybody.
L'chaim, l'chaim. Svi, once again, always a privilege and a pleasure to always see you and have you part of all our stories.
Thank you.
Very much. Once again, to everyone, a quick apology. Naturally, my laptop had to freeze in the middle of all of this, but I guess the Abishter runs the world. So I guess my computer's also got some form of coronavirus, so it had its own issue. The next, so l'chaim, can't hold on to this. Stephen Greenstein, this is for you, and the rest of the guys are all telling me to make a l'chaim.
Absolutely.
I'll pour another one. The next person who's going to speak is a young man who I'm super close to. He's going to tell his own story. I'm not going to go into it at all. As you would have noticed in the ad that we sent out, we kept it very, very parav. A boy who's from our country, he made his way into the army. Most incredible, inspiring story. So just before he speaks, one of my most favorite songs has got to be the Misha Beirach song that we bless the soldiers with every single Shabbos. Of Misha Beirach, that we bless our soldiers, that may they meet healthy, may God look after them, may they have what they want. So we're going to play Beirach for the Israeli army with the video that comes with. We'll unmute you for the moment. It's not playing. Not playing. Bring me the sound. Bring your phone. Other guys after the review, I'm going to ask Levi.
Gotta find him.
Please, we just got to look for him. We really appreciate you for the feature. He's coming to talk to us. Keeping in mind that Sue and Steve are both living in Israel. They're an hour ahead. So whatever time it is by us, keep in mind they're an hour ahead of us. So really do thank them once again for coming on. Levi, legend of he is. Thank you so much, Levi. We're all yours. L'chaim, l'chaim.
L'chaim. Thanks, Rabbi. First, I just want to say Chag Sameach to everyone. I hope everyone's having a great Lag BaOmer. Basically, to be honest, I don't actually enjoy speaking about the army publicly. It's not something I enjoy, and I don't love it at all. But I just want to say before I start is that thank God, I went through a service of 3 years and I wasn't forced to go into war. And thank God I didn't lose anyone from my unit. I didn't lose anyone from my team. And, I just want to say that because there are crazy stories out there and my story is probably the basic of them all. So I'm just going to tell you a bit about my story going into the Israeli army and life as an IDF soldier. I was born to a very loving, close family. My father instilled in me from a very young age a sense of Jewish identity, Jewish pride. And basically, when I was younger, there were two events which kind of influenced my decision in making Aliyah. The first one was when I was 15 and I played a rugby match in the south. We arrived there, little King David boys, and we walked into the change room and the opposition was waiting for us. And they basically were saying the Jews are going to the gas chambers. Right before kickoff, as soon as the referee blew his whistle, they all put up their hands and they did the Nazi salute. And at a very young age, this really bothered me and it really, really upset me. The second event was when I was 16 years old and I went on Hadracha and I experienced a whole of Israel, the people, the culture, every single thing. And I really just felt comfortable. I felt like I belonged. And when I came back from Israel to South Africa, I thought about this rugby match and this specific event. And I thought to myself, it's so crazy that now I'm actually coming home, yet I actually feel more comfortable and I feel more sense of belonging over there. For me, it's crazy that, we have to have the CSO to patrol our roads during Shabbatot, and that sometimes we can't go to school in school uniform because of death threats that they get. And this kind of really influenced my decision in making Aliyah. So I told my parents that I'm making Aliyah. My mom was taken aback. It took her a while to come around. But basically, my parents saw the passion I had for Israel. As the years went by, it wasn't such a boyhood dream. It started becoming more real. I started putting Israeli flags up on my walls. I started learning about Israel. I used to go into Instagram and find Israel posts and literally fight people on Instagram who were against Israel. And yeah, my passion really grew and there was a fire in me to go to Israel. And so when I was 18 after matric, I got on a plane and I arrived at a pre-army program. We were a few Olim Charashim in this program, new immigrants, which was really great because I was literally alone with 150 Israelis in the middle of the desert. So there's no better place to learn Hebrew, to adapt to Israeli society, and to train for the army. Now, the whole idea for me and the Israeli army was that if I'm going to go to the Israeli army, I want to try to get to the highest place that I can get to. So I had to do special forces in order to get really high. Now what happened is basically you need to train really hard for these special forces trials. I used to wake up at really, really early in the mornings. I used to run to these massive sand dunes in the middle of the desert. I used to sprint up and down. I would fill up sandbags, put them on my back, sprint up and down. I would crawl for hours and hours. And I really, really worked hard to get into the right physical shape to do these special trials. I was invited to the special trials. I did the special trials. It was a very grueling and tough week, mentally and physically. It was a big shock for me because this was my first experience of the army. Now that we look at it, it was nothing, but it was really, really a tough week. I passed the trials and I was invited to interviews for special forces. And basically, I did my interviews, and March 2016, I enlisted into the Maglan Special Forces. Maglan is a special unit which basically specializes in all different types of combat. And so we started basic training. Now, basic training is 4 months of every single soldier has to go through it. And it's basics of being a soldier, shooting a gun, you know, getting in good shape, learning about the equipment, learning about different types of combat. But what the Israeli army really wants to emphasize during this period of basic training, was discipline. Now, Israeli schools aren't the same as South African schools. They're way more rude. They don't let teachers speak, and we know how Israelis are. And basically, the army is there to basically get these Israelis the respect and discipline that they need. So what they do is they basically time every single thing that we do. So if I needed to go to the bathroom, I'd go up to my commander. I'd say, please, can I go to the bathroom? And he would say, okay, open your stopwatch. 4 minutes, you've gone to the bathroom, you've come back, go. And I'll go. And then we would be sitting for supper, and he would come up to our table. We haven't even started eating, and he would say, okay, 5 minutes, you've eaten everything on your plate. You've finished, you washed your plates, you've come outside, and you're standing in 3 lines waiting for me. And basically after this, you know, if we didn't actually succeed in getting there on time, we would get punished. So that was my first 4 months of training. We also did parachuting course, which was an amazing experience. And we moved on to advanced training. Now, not every unit goes through advanced training in the Israeli army, only special forces. And Maglan's special forces training is made up of 3 methods. The first method is the method of breaking us physically and mentally. What they would do is they would deprive us of sleep. I knew that for 8 months, I knew that every time I come to base on a Sunday, that Wednesday night, I'm not going to sleep. It's a thing in my unit that every Wednesday night, we don't sleep during training. Sometimes we would get 18 hours of sleep a week if we were, you know, it depends on the situation. They would send us on 40-kilometer marches with 50 kilograms on our back, and made us navigate at night. And they really, like, on Sundays, we would come to base and we wouldn't shower until the next Thursday. So it was really, really tough. I mean, they really, really destroyed us physically. We were in situations where our body wasn't able to carry on, but that's the whole point, because I wanted to break us physically so that when we get to that point, we can carry on. The second method of training is honesty and trustfulness. Basically, what they want to check is that a soldier in the army is gonna basically perform the commandment that his commander gives him in battle. Now, how they tested this was when we came to base on a Sunday, we were told to turn our phones off, and we would put our phones in our lockers, and next time we would see them was on Friday if we go home. We also weren't allowed any sweets or chocolates or cold drinks. We were only allowed the food that they gave us, and tuna and nuts. And what happened is that if they caught anyone on their phones, if they caught anyone even having a Machinak, they would be kicked out of the unit, because according to them, that's a red flag and that person can't be trusted. And the third method of training is basically readiness, right? The most important thing about the special forces is that at any time you can be called to base, you can be called to battle, and you have to be ready. I packed my bag 3 times to go into war, and I never actually went into war. And in training, what they would do was we never ever knew what was happening. We never knew what was happening the month before. We never knew the month later. We never knew what was happening the day after. We never knew what was happening the next hour. And basically, sometimes we would be told that we go into the north, having a training session in the north, and we'd be on the bus driving to the north. Then all of a sudden, our commander would come out of nowhere, scream, "Get on equipment, get off the bus." We would get off the bus. At 3 a.m., we would put on our equipment, and we still wouldn't know what we were doing. And then he would just start walking, and we would follow him. And then after 5 hours, you know, you've climbed a mountain, and you have your Krav Maga instructor waiting for you. So those are the 3 methods of training that they emphasize. I mean, we also did all kinds of training, like you know, searching houses in darkness without anyone hearing you. We had camouflage weeks. We had lots of shooting. But the most important thing about advanced training was basically going through all this hardship brought your team together. This is really when your team becomes one and when your team becomes a family. You know, when you're at your lowest, you know that your friend in front of you is also at his lowest, and that's what gets you at your highest. So after a year and 4 months, I finished advanced training. I became an active soldier, which was a big transformation because you know, you learn so much about being an active soldier, and all of a sudden you are an active soldier. It's the real stuff. Now a week in the life of a Maglanist, the soldier from Maglan, is that you can come to base on a Sunday, and then you can get intelligence that, you know, there's tension in the north, and then you can take a bus and go to the north and spend 2 days on the north, either defending an attack or waiting for an attack. And then all of a sudden you can get intelligence that, you know, there was a terrorist attack in the West Bank and we need to go arrest the terrorist. And then we'll go into the West Bank on Tuesday and Wednesday and arrest the terrorist that performed the terrorist attack. And then on Thursday, you hope that Hamas didn't shoot 200 rockets into Israel so that you can actually go home. And then what also the Israeli army does is that they never ever want soldiers to just be sitting on base. So they organize very, very important training sessions. I did 2 training sessions overseas. And the whole point is that basically the Israeli army is constantly under pressure, under threats from all of our borders, and we want our soldiers to be ready. So another challenge for me was that I was a lone soldier, which meant that I have no family, no immediate family in Israel. So when my friends were talking about their mother's schnitzel on the Thursday, you know, I was thinking about a lot of other things. Now, a place that actually gave me a solution to all these problems was Habayit Shel Benji, which is a lone soldier home in Ranana. Me and my 4 best friends lived there, and it really was an amazing experience. They helped me with every single thing that was in my army service. I got 3 meals a day, I got snacks, they did our washing for us, and it was really like a hotel. And it really allowed me to come home after such a hard week and literally just sleep. And they really, really were amazing. Being a South African and coming to Israel, I knew a lot about the international media and what the media said about Israel and the soldiers and the country. The only part where it was actually relevant in my service was when the Gaza protest started. Now, Trump decided to move the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, which sparked a whole lot of protests in Gaza. Hamas called it the March of Return. And basically my team was sent straight to the action. We ended up being that whole period on the border for 30 days. But the day that was critical was basically the day of rage, which was the actual day where the embassy was moved from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. We were basically on the border, just like any other day in those 30 days. And we were watching the fence to make sure no terrorists were coming and, you know, coming across. And we got intelligence from above saying that there are Hamas snipers on the border who want to hit the Israeli soldier. So we all got behind the sand dunes, which have been built for us. And then we got more intelligence saying that Hamas have a whole lot of cars coming to our specific point with massive, massive speakers. And then a few hours later, we got more intelligence saying the music that's playing or the announcements that are coming off these speakers are actually Hamas terrorists calling all the civilians to come into one place. So they told us to come out, to watch and see what's going on, because they didn't know what was going on. They expect an attack. And basically what happened was, what Hamas was doing was they were calling all the civilians to one area because they wanted to attack from the civilians. They wanted to make a massive, massive crowd of people and shoot from the civilians, you know, in order to hit the Israeli soldiers. And they know that we're not going to randomly shoot civilians. So that's their runaway card. Which is exactly what happened. They opened fire. Maglan dealt with the situation in a really, in a professional way. No civilians were killed. But for me, what was crazy was 3 hours later when I turned on my phone, I saw different headlines from CNN, Sky News, BBC saying that Israeli soldiers performed a massacre. Israeli soldiers shot at protesters. Now, the thing that bothered me was they're talking about me. They're talking about me and my friends. And this isn't what happened. You know, there was no report on our side. And it just got me thinking about the perception of Israel around the world. And, you know, I realized that all of a sudden, all those years of me actually worrying about people's perception of Israel was for nothing. Because when I looked right and I saw my friend, you know, shooting back at these terrorists, he wasn't shooting because of the perception of the media, you know, and what they think of Israel. He was shooting because 3 kilometers behind him is a kibbutz where his family lives. And that's what's the most important thing for him. And it's also relevant to Jews all over the world because, you know, so many times are we the scapegoat, so many times are we actually massacred, and, you know, the Holocaust, the Spanish Inquisition, so many times anti-Semitism is on a massive rise. But at the end of the day, we have a place to run to. Now we do. And I mean, specific examples for us is when I went to Thailand with my team after the army, you know, there was a security guard at the front of the door for the Pesach Seder, because Israel sent him because they feared that there was going to be a terrorist attack on the Jews in Phuket. You know, the our CSO guys are trained by Israeli soldiers. So we see Israel in our lives, and it's all around us completely every day. And we need to appreciate her, and we need to love her, and we need to support her no matter what, because the world's perception means nothing. At the end of the day, we're Jewish people, and this is our home, and like I said before, we have a place to run to. And basically, after these events, we moved away from Gaza, and we carried on our service. My team was very, very active in the West Bank. We spent a long time in the West Bank doing lots of arrests and preventing terrorist attacks from happening. We were also a very strong team within the unit. So we were asked to sign on another 4 months and do special operations in the north during the tense time with Syria and Lebanon. And that's it. In March 2019, we all got out the army. We all hopped on a plane. We went to Thailand and we relaxed. And today we all in connection, we all speaking, we best friends, we like a family. You know, we don't have to speak to each other every day, but we know we have each other's backs. And yeah, we're still doing reserve duty. We have reserve duty in 3 weeks together. And yeah, I love my team, I love my unit, and you know, I really, really do appreciate what Israel does for me personally here in Tel Aviv, and also across the world, you know, for my family in South Africa and Jews all over the world. Chag Sameach to everyone, and thanks for listening.
Stop saying that.
How's it, guys? Once again, Levi, all I can say is thank you very, very much. I'm going to ask Levi to look at his cell phone for a minute. I just sent him a WhatsApp I need him to respond to. But I just wanted to know from what's name again, from my point of view, is I WhatsApp Levi this morning, actually late last night. I said, Levi, I need you to please, I'm doing a like, but I need you to come say a few words. His response was as follows, that no, I don't usually talk. I don't enjoy talking, but I can't say no to you. There's an oak who stood on the front lines for us, and he's scared of me. That worries me quite a bit. But one of the things I got to say about Levi, and he's a bit modest, so I'm going to have to tell it anyway. He spoke a bit about his training of the challenge and the hardship and how much he had to dig deep to get to where he was and to get him through where he was. And at the end of all that training, before you become, I don't know exactly where it is in the system, but you become this elite officer. You get a set of wings per se, a badge, which you get. I mean, you got to understand, this is months of sweat, pain, tears, I'm sure a fair amount of vomiting and beyond. And this is something which everybody treasures. And Levi got his, without telling not his family, no one around him. He put in an envelope with a letter, which he sent back to Johannesburg. And he sent it to David and Jody Copance's house. But the letter, I don't know, not going to go to the exact details of it, but it pretty much said that your late son, Daniel, who always wanted to go to the army with me, wasn't able to. He unfortunately passed away from cancer. But I want to know that every single day when I wanted to give up, and every time when I thought it was the end of my time and I was over, I thought of, I'm doing this not just for me, not for the Jewish people, for Dan as well. And therefore says, the wings that I've received now are not just for me, they are actually for you guys, because Dan took me through. I only understand how huge that type of love for your fellow Jew is. And that really is a theme of Lag BaOmer. The theme of Lag BaOmer is that you can either live for yourself and make you everything, or you can understand that true life is about loving your fellow Jew, understanding that I succeed when I live for others. I succeed when I put myself on the line for others. My greatness is based on what I give for others. And therefore, a few years later, when we did a Sefer Torah in the memory of Dan, a group of us, including David, the late Dan's father, came with us to Israel, went to Hebron for Shabbat. The end we then, which obviously Levi joined us for, one hell of a jewel. What happens is the camp stays in camp. Thereafter, we came back to Jerusalem, just outside the Kotel, and we actually finished off the Torah, the last segment of it in Jerusalem, of which Levi got that first letter. And all I can say from a personal point of view, Levi, all I can say is you're an inspiration to all of us. I thank you on behalf of all of us, and really thank you for everything.
Thank you.
One of the most important things to keep going in is that there's nothing more important in life than understand that every one of us have a purpose. As the Rebbe once said, the most famous and important and loving prayer of his was Modeh ani lefanecha, that thank you Hashem for giving me a soul. Thank you Hashem for choosing me to wake up every single day. So the way it's going to work now, we're going to play the song together as Modeh ani. We are not going to end. Those that want to leave can continue their evenings. We're going to turn this into a continued inspiration. I've noticed a few other rabbis have joined on. If anybody does want to add a few words of inspiration, just put it in the chat. We'll unmute and let's keep this going. Tzvi and Levi, I do understand that it is pretty much just after 11 o'clock in Israel. I'll give you the Tzvi is having l'chaim. Levi, I'm worried about you, brother.
It's on its way. It's on its way.
You're not even in shutdown anymore. So we got it for playing tonight. We'll continue through. I'll see like a few other people have come on. Let's keep it going. I thank those that have come. I thank all of you that have joined. Modeh ani, thank you for Hashem for waking each of us up every morning. Thank you, Hashem, for choosing me to make a difference. Thank you for Tzvi for changing all the people in the world that you change. Thanks to Levi for what you do for every one of us. And thanks to every one of us. Let's wake up every day understanding God chose us to live, God wants us to live, and God needs us to live. Modeh ani lefanecha. Thank you, Hashem.
מודה אני כל בוקר שהחזרת את נשמתי, מודה אני על בגד שהנחת על גופי, שלא יהיה לי קר, אתה שומר עליי. מודה אני כל בוקר על האור, על עצם היותי, מודה אני על לחם שהנחת לשולחני, שלא אהיה רעב, שלא אדע כאב. על אין ספור חיוכיי, מודה אני על כל כישרונותיי ועל כל שיריי, את כולם מקדיש לך. דע לך, שמודה אני לך. אצעק לך, אגיד שמך, אליך אקרא, לך חיי, לך ליבי, לתודתי, לך אקרא. מודה אני כל בוקר על כוחי, על אבי ועל אמי, מודה אני על גשר שנתת בשדותיי, לדאוג לאוהביי נתת לי חיי. על יום המנוחה מודה אני, על שפע וברכה למשפחה, כל כולי רק בזכותך. דע לך, שמודה אני לך. כישלונותיי מודה אני, על אכזבותיי, פניי ומכשוליי הם כולם לטובתי. אין אחר בליבי, רק לך מודה אני. לך אדיר שמחה, לך אקריה, ממך בכל ליבי ובזה התפילה שתנחה אותי בדרך ישרה ותודיעני אורחת תורה שתדריכני בעמיתך. מבקש ממך בכל ליבי ובזה התפילה שתנחה אותי בדרך ישרה ותודיעני אורחת תורה שתדריכני בעמיתך.
How's it, guys? I'm very keen for anybody who wants to add in a few words of anything they want or any comments they want to make, just put it through. We'll let you in. And those that have spoken already can speak again. So once again, thanks for everyone. As I from now on, I think the official program obviously has done what it's done. I'm happy to go on all night. I'm very much into the mood. Lag BaOmer is a one time for me where you kick in, you sit outside, you make a bonfire, you talk to the flame of your inner flame. And I actually told the story last year to the group I went with to Poland last year. Is Rabbi Chazdan did a shmoozer tonight, which was this incredible night of unity. And one thing he always used to tell me, I had a bit of a history as a youngster with some of the things that I did. I don't go into it now. I always said I became a rabbi to repent from my past. And I obviously don't want to go into all the things I did, but obviously I had my moments of trouble, of challenge, of being good and bad. And he always used to come up and ask me the same question. And I told a story while we were sitting at Medanik. And when you finish your walk around Medanik, which probably the only one of that I've been to, I'm sure there might be others, death camp is absolutely 100% intact pretty much. There's a massive hall of ash, pure, like tons and tons of ash that's left behind. And you made a bonfire tonight. I was looking at the bonfire. And it reminded me of the story I told last year at Medanik. It reminded me of Rabbi Chazdan in honor of what he put together tonight. Of that there's two options in life. And he always used to ask me, as you all know, my name's Eitan Ash. In English, ash means a burnt out flame. In Hebrew, an ash means a fire. He used to always ask me on a continual basis. He says, what are you? Are you an ash or are you an ash? Are you on fire? Are you inspired? Are you happy to keep giving? Are you burnt out and you don't have a tomorrow? Same bucket, same ingredients. A flame, some fuel and some wood. Same ingredients, same circumstance. It's identical to headspace though. When you look at it, do you see the coals that are burnt out at the bottom? Or do you see that flame that's burning in the middle and on top? He's always asked me, in my good and my challenging times, are you an ash or are you an ash? And I'm going to tell you, I'll say the exact same thing to all of us. Tonight is Lag BaOmer. It's a time where we make fires and we light fires and we ignite. We don't burn down our homes, hopefully. But we do create a structure in our lives where we make decisions. And so many people that I speak to are saying, look at the times and the shutdown and the hardship, and I'm not going to negate it. It's tough. I'm not going to lie. And financially and emotionally and psychologically, we're in hard times around the world. We're in tough times in South Africa. And like, no matter what decisions we all make, they're going to be hard. No matter what decisions we make, we're going to be challenging. And I think any decisions are going to be wrong. I think they're all going to be right, including from Ramaphosa all the way across. But the difference is not going to be the decisions we make. The difference is not going to be anything but our outlook on it. God controls the world more down here. As I said earlier, God chooses us to be ignited. God chooses us to live. Our choice is not to live or not. That's Hashem's choice. Our choice. Are you an ash or are you an ash? Are you on fire or are you feeling like you're burnt out? Same pot, same ingredients, same place. Lag BaOmer is a time Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who was one of the students of Rabbi Akiva. He wasn't a different generation. He was one of the 5 last remaining students of Rabbi Akiva. Out of when 24,000 died, he's one of the 5 that lived. Why did he live? Because his headspace was different. Student, same teacher, different head. We got to live our lives with the head that we choose. We got to be on fire. We got to be inspired. We got to choose what we want. We got to ignite ourselves to become what we want. And therefore, I'm going to ask all of us tonight, as we sit in our lounge or we sit around, wherever it might be, to find the fire inside of us, to find the energy inside of us, to connect to what's important to us. And to the end of the day, life is about the choices we make. What we can't control, don't let it affect you. What you can control, control, but control in the positive. And as I always say, l'chaim, l'chaim, the brachas at the bottom. And I've told many people, there's an old man who lived in Crown House for many, many years called Zalman the Shika. He used to drink 96% alcohol every single day. And eventually, once he landed up in hospital with water on the lungs. And he called in his family, so I always knew that 4% would kill me one day. But he had another word he used to say. He used to say, you can drink to drown your sorrows, but I'm going to change the words a bit, but those bastards float. So it's not about that. L'chaim's not about drinking and drowning sorrows. It's about finding the aish, about finding the fire, dropping inhibitions, tuning to yourself. Let's verbring, let's inspire. We'll play another song. If anybody else wants to add some words, let's do it. It's not a monologue. It's an open l'chaim verbringen. L'chaim, l'chaim, love having you all.
סלח לי אבי כי חטאתי לך בחולי על כל פשעי גם בימים ששכחתי אותך היית תמיד בחיי בכל הדרכים שהלכתי בעצם היית לי נר לרגליי הייתי עיוור לא ראיתי מעבר למה שהביטו עיניי שקשה לפעמים, גם אז אלוקים, אתה לי עולם לא רחוק, מלך מלכי המלכים, תודה על חיים, הלא שרלבך יצחוק, גם שקשה לפעמים, גם אז אלוקים, אתה לי עולם לא רחוק, גם כי אלך בדרכי חשוכה, בטחתי בך אלוקיי על חצי שני על בכור וילדה תודה גם על אושר בלי די תודה על חגים על שבת ששומרת שלא ייגמר לעולם כל יום שעובר בדרכי לגן עדן שיוויתי אותך מול קשה לפעמים פזיז מעשים, בהול תנועות, אינו תנאי להמתין ולא זמן לחכות, ירידת הדורות. כנראה הסיבה לעליית התורות בקופה הראשית. שמענו לפידים וראינו את הקולות, את ההר השן, למען השם אחד הלב הזה ישן, בתור לקופה הראשית. ערפיל לטוב, לא בחיל ולא בכוח, רק בשם ומלכות. כשזה יבוא זה יבוא זה יבוא, בלי מקום לטעות. הנה ימים באים, נאום השם אלוקים, לא אהב ללחם, לא צם על המים. הנה ימים באים, נאום השם אלוקים, לא אהב ללחם, לא צם על המים. ערד שפתיים, נבוב לוחות, אם ללמד עלינו זכות, זה לרצון לשנות, להסיר מסכות. זמן לגילוי הפן, לא רעב ללחם, לא צמא על המים, רק דיבורים של אמת המשביעים את הלב, ירידת הדורות. כנראה הסיבה לעליית התורות בספרייה הראשית. ערפיל לטוב, לא בחיל ולא בכוח, רק בשם ומלכות. כשזה יבוא זה יבוא זה יבוא, בלי מקום לטעות. הנה ימים באים, נאום השם אלוקים, לא רעב ללחם, לא צם על המים. הנה ימים באים, נאום השם אלוקים, לא רעב ללחם, לא צם על המים. הנה ימים באים, לא רעב ללחם, לא צם על המים, רק דיבורים של אמת המשביעים את הלב. לא רעב ללחם, לא צם על המים, רק דיבורים של אמת המשביעים את הלב.
As a guards, it looks like I'm bringing, no one else has put up their hands to say a few words or to share what's on their heart or what's on their mind or anything around there. So as I say, the way evening works, we know if I bring in. If I bring in means that anybody can kick in, anyone can share some words. So I'm going to share a little bit, but I'm begging people to join in and get involved. You don't have to be a rabbi. You got to talk from who you are. You got to talk from your soul. But if you look behind me, besides seeing my family and the chair in the way, you can see the remnants of a bonfire. And what's fascinating about a bonfire is the most amazing concept is that there's two ways to create energy. The strength of a fire is not about the heat on the coal. There's two ways to live your life. If you're freezing cold, you can put on a coat, which will make you so warm and so comfortable and so happy. Or you can make a fire, which will make you warm and happy and help others to be happy at the same time. When you make a fire, the strength of a fire, the greatness of a fire, the growth of a fire is when the coals are packed together. If you make yourself a bonfire and you separate those coals out, what happens? The fire dies, the fire is over, and there's nothing left. But when you take all the coals and you build them together and you join together in heat, in energy, in passion, then you ignite the flame, then you ignite the bonfire. That's when you make a difference. When it comes down to changing and transforming other people, at that point, you make a difference when you ignite with others, when you stand together with others, when you unite with others. Too often we think our greatness is when we stand alone, when we stand above, we stand across from others. We get up and say, look, I have arrived. I am the person out there. Check at me, check where I'm at. And the truth is, true success in life is never about making yourself stand on the strength on the top of others, but rather when you stand as a crowd together, we stand together as a nation, we stand together as a community, stand together as a people, and you stand together in the same pot. If each of you bring your little flame, your little bit of heat, your small spark, you create a bonfire. But if every person on their own creates their own little spark, and you stand alone, and you stand independent, and you think, check at my fire, within no time, that fire goes out, that fire goes cold. It doesn't burn out, it extinguishes. You have a full coal, but it's cold, it's over, and it's done. Life is about, success is about, like Boemer is about, all of us standing in unity, standing together, fighting for the same cause. And I spoke about this, I give a shir on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And one of the things I gave in the shir actually this week was last week's Torah portion, that you have emor, you got to speak. And the Rebbe explained that what does it mean you got to speak? That too many people have so much to offer, they got so much energy, they got so much knowledge, but they're scared to speak, they're scared to offer, they're scared to give to others. In life, you got to offer, you got to speak, you got to be prepared to give to others. If there's ever a time to speak, it's got to be now. If there's ever a time to pick up the phone or drop an SMS or drop a WhatsApp to somebody you know, it is now. If you isolate yourself because the government said so, you'll turn cold, you'll fall apart, and there's no tomorrow. But if you isolate yourself for everybody else because it seems the right thing to do, but in isolation, you am or you speak. You pick up your phone and don't call your close mates because you're going to do that anyway. Go one bubble out. Go one bubble out. When it comes down to security, I mean, Levi spoke earlier today about the army, spoke about the CSO, he spoke about security. The rule of security is how do you secure the inner? You've got a lot of outer bubbles. I'm going to tell you how do you have an inner when you look after the outer bubbles. If you want an inner core, you've got to look at your outer bubbles and not a shul story. That's a me and you story. If you want your core to exist, if you want your person, you want to flourish for who you are in life, if you want to achieve your goals, it doesn't take place because you're warm. It doesn't take place because you're wearing a coat. A coat will make you warm and everyone around you will freeze to death. If you make a fire and you spread that warmth and you speak and talk to everybody around you, not only do you get warm, but people around you get warm. You change them, you transform them, you uplift them, and with them they uplift you. I want to beg us one Lag BaOmer with the day of unity. Make your bonfires at home and keep your family warm around it. Sit inside your house, however it might be. But I'm asking every one of us on this Lag BaOmer, every one of us on this Lag BaOmer, to please, and I'm begging you to please call somebody. Actually, I'm way too kind. Call 3 people tomorrow. Not 3 people that are clients, not 3 people that are friends, not 3 people that expect your call. Find 3 people that'll be like, when they answer phone, like, hi, thinking like, what do you need? And saying, my word, you're just going to say hello to me. That's like BaOmer. That's what it's about. That is why we exist. And therefore, I'm going to ask all of us to do exactly that. Pick up our phones tomorrow and Emor and speak. Call somebody and let's light our fires. Let's create a fire inside of each and every one of us. Sorry, I'm trying to admit people at the same time. Let's create a fire inside of every single one of us. That not only do we heat up ourselves, that we warm in our coats, a chosterim pelts they call it, where you got all the fur in the world and you say lekker, but everybody dies around you from cold and you're lonely. Rather, let's make fires. Let's create coals. Let's bring our energy. Let's ignite our energy. Let's bring everybody around us. And let's honestly and truly create a story for every one of us of strength, of achdus, of unity. I'm going to play another 2 songs. I'm then going to start unmuting and let people, I'm not going to unmute, I'm not going to point fingers at anyone because I was going to run out of fear. One thing is interesting about life, we're scared to be known. If I bring in the opposite, we make l'chaim. Why? You want to almost have l'chaim to drop your inhibitions so you're not scared to talk your mind. It's an open, genuine platform. I don't want to keep talking. I want others to share. I want others to ask. I want to expose on Lag BaOmer. Expose my fire, expose your fire, expose our fire, and ignite and light up Johannesburg, South Africa as a whole, Africa, the world, and bring Mashiach. Let's play 1 or 2 songs, and we'll continue for bringing.
להיזכר במקומות שאז היינו ילדים, לא פחדנו סתם לחיות בלי המינוס הצעות, בלי לתלות את התקוות כמו כביסה על חבלים, כמו איזה שני משוגעים בחוף. שמרנו רגעים בלב, שתינו את הנוף, ואת היית יפה כמו פרח שאסור היה לקטוף. רציתי רק לקטוף אותך, רציתי לקטוף כמו איזה שני משוגעים בחוף. שמרנו רגעים בלב, שתינו את הנוף, ואת היית יפה כמו פרח שאסור היה לקטוף. רציתי רק לקטוף אותך, רציתי לקטוף כמו איזה שני משוגעים. רחוק ברגליים יחפות מזיכרונות ואכזבות שאז רצינו לשחרר, כמעט ויתרנו על עצמנו, נברח רחוק מהשגרה כמו אז שהסתפקנו באושר הפשוט, כמו איזה שני משוגעים בחוף. שמרנו רגעים בלב, שתינו את הנוף, ואת היית יפה כמו פרח שאסור היה לקטוף. רציתי רק לקטוף אותך, רציתי לקטוף כמו איזה שני משוגעים בחוף. שמרנו רגעים בלב, שתינו את הנוף, ואת היית יפה כמו פרח שאסור היה לקטוף. רציתי רק לקטוף אותך, רציתי לקטוף כמו איזה שני משוגעים. כמו איזה שני משוגעים בחוף. שמרנו רגעים בלב, שתינו את הנוף, ואת היית יפה כמו פרח שאסור היה לקטוף. רציתי רק לקטוף אותך, רציתי לקטוף כמו איזה שני משוגעים.
אתם רוצים לעשות, לעבור על כמה שירים שצריך? אתה יוצא? כן. אתם רוצים לעשות, לעבור על כמה שירים שצריך? אתה יוצא? כן.
הכל התחיל באיזה בר לא מוכר בתל אביב, באמצע השבוע אני ניסיתי לשחק אותה בחור כזה מגניב שהכל אצלו רגוע, ואת בין כל האנשים האלה מרגישה לי מוכר וזה מוזר. לא סתם אומרים על החיים האלה, אין במקרה הכל גורל. היא בדיוק הטעם שלי, החיוך הנבוך, המבט שאומר הכל, גם בלי איפור עם עוד סתם סמלה שזרקה על עצמה בדיוק כמו שהיא, בדיוק כמו שהיא. מזמין כוסית ועוד כוסית, כי לפעמים מה לעשות, שותה קצת אומץ. מאיפה את? בת כמה את? יש לך חבר או שלבד? לא יודע איך לגשת, נמאס לי שאני כזה דרמטי, עושה עניין מכל דבר. שבעה מסיפורים כאלה על ביישנים ולב נשבר. היא בדיוק הטעם שלי, החיוך הנבוך, המבט שומר הכל, גם בלי איפור עם עוד סתם סמלה שזרקה על עצמה בדיוק כמו שהיא, בדיוק כמו שהיא. הנבוך, המבט שאומר הכל, גם בלי איפור עם עוד סתם סמלה שזרקה על עצמה בדיוק כמו שהיא, בדיוק כמו שהיא. הטעם שלי, החיוך הנבוך, המבט שאומר הכל, גם בלי איפור עם עוד סתם סמלה שזרקה על עצמה בדיוק כמו שהיא, בדיוק כמו שהיא. או
So I heard something really, really nice this past week that I want to share with everyone. So I heard a story, real, that there is shluchim in Germany, a man and his wife, and they've got 8 kids. And the rabbi, the father, got coronavirus and he was in hospital. And the one day he found out that he needs to go on a ventilator. So his wife was busy at her job. She teaches at a nursery school, and he called his wife and he said, "How's it? Listen, I'm going on a ventilator. I just have to quickly call to tell you." So the line was really, really bad, and with all the kids running around, she kind of was just like, "No, just wait. Like, don't go on yet. Let me quickly go back into better connection, and I'll speak to you properly." And he was like, "No, you don't understand. Like, I've got to run quickly. I'll speak to you soon." Anyways, that was the last time that she ever got to speak to her husband because he passed away. So she was at the hospital, and this was a Friday afternoon right before Shabbat. So anyways, Shabbos came in and she had to walk back from the hospital to her house. And as she was approaching her house on the street, she was walking, and as she got to the outside of her house, she heard that obviously the older kids were trying to entertain the younger kids, and she heard her kids, all 8 of them, in the house singing Shabbos songs. And at that moment, she decided that there is no ways that she's breaking this news to her kids when they're singing and dancing in this house like right before Shabbos or during Shabbos already, because Shabbos had come in. There was no ways that she was breaking the news to her kids. And so she decided that she's going to wait till after Shabbos. And after Shabbos, she obviously broke the news to her kids. But I think one of the most amazing things that I learned from this is that in life, we're all faced with moments where we have a choice. We can focus on our own pain, or we can focus on other people's joy. That pain is still going to be there. The kids were still at the end of Shabbos going to find out that they had lost their father. And she would be left with 8 kids, without a husband, without a source of income, without her children not growing up with a father. But she chose to rather focus on other people's joy. And I think that's a really mind-blowing lesson. Yeah.
So it's on that note, my daughter chose to step up to the plate, to start the structures, to get things going, to open up. I can either unmute you all, or we can keep going this way. It looks like I feel like I'm on like one of these like self-made movies where everyone just looks at me and smiles. The beauty of this crowd, and I've got to be honest, is at least most people on video. Usually the way this Zoom works is that you feel guilty. I often land up on these Zooms I have to go on. So I'll switch on Zoom, connect to the meeting, turn off the video and go to another room and do something else. So people think that at least like I care. But at least I've got a team over there actually listening. But we're going to for brain tonight, guys. We got it. So just by the way, that rabbi's name was Rabbi Wolf, Rabbi Benjamin Wolf from Germany. What else I can tell you about Rabbi Wolf? That he was my age. He unfortunately did pass away. He did leave his wife and kids. More than that is, she's made a decision to stay in Germany and stay as a Rebbitzin in there on her own without a husband. And I never knew that story. I just heard it now for the first time from Shane. It's not like I told it to her. She heard it this week in school. And I think we often face with those decisions. I mean, I often like just try, and I'm trying to dissect the story myself. Imagine knowing that you've got a bad technology line, and I had that tonight, as you all know, where you plan a proper function and you got the right videos, and if you're excited, you got it right, and then the technology gremlins kick in and it all goes wrong. By me, I've got it tomorrow. I don't know if I have tomorrow, I hope not. But I've got it now. And I am what I am. I'm not on a ventilator and I'm alive. Imagine the gremlins take you out and it's the last moment you have with your loved ones. So when you want to talk, you can't. And then you start thinking what I wanted to talk about 5 minutes ago when I could talk. It's not about creating a somber moment of what I want to say. But that's the message of Modani I spoke about earlier. That in life, you got to grab the moment. You got to live in the moment. We so often get caught on all the crap around us. We so often get caught on the mushugasim around us. We forget that what's genuinely important can be short-lived. Levi spoke about earlier that his mother took a long time to grasp but the idea of him going to the Israeli army. For us, it's a youngster we know. He comes to the shul. He doesn't. He's a friend. Him I kept up with, thank God, for many years. He's not my son. You try. It's one thing for a soldier to go to the army. For a parent to let their son go to that army, it's got to be more difficult. Youngsters are retarded. We prepare to put our lives on the line for a cigarette, never mind to go fight for a country. But at the end of the day, practically, when a mother understands her son's dream and she lets him go, that's the strength. When a wife has those moments, like I'm trying to fathom it, I'm like, I haven't thought this through. I'm really in the early days of this guy. I just heard the story now. Where a mother comes home, I'm going to just break it down a moment. She speaks to her husband that she didn't speak to because he's going on a ventilator because it's a bad line. So I'll speak to you later, doll. I'm just going on a ventilator. Like I'm just going to buy some chicken livers. Like I'm just getting on a ventilator. We'll talk again another time. She leaves. He's on a ventilator. He doesn't come off it. She arrives home. 8 kids. I'll just break it. And you've got a decision. Am I going to tell my children what just happened? I'm going to let them live their reality for now. Because the pain they're going to feel anyway. And those decisions we make every day. We make them in business. We make them in relationships. We make them in every segment of our lives. Do we reflect where we are? Do we connect to where everybody else is? Do I live my reality or do I live the reality? And the reality doesn't mean lie. She didn't lie to her kids. She just chose when that reality of theirs had to change. It's mind-blowing in my mind. I'm going to tell every one of us, we've got those choices every day. Every moment of our lives, we've got a choice to make. What's the reality that we want to live? What are we going to focus on? What are we going to say? What are we going to make important? What are we going to connect to? What are we not? Are we going to get caught on the rubbish? Are we going to connect to what's important? Are we going to let the small things burn us? Are we going to live our lives and understand what I can control, I will control, what I can't control, I won't? Like, what are we going to actually do? And that Robertson made probably one of the toughest decisions ever in life. Not sure I could have. And she did. And we're sitting in Johannesburg. Weeks later, it's about 10 days or later, we're forgetting about her power. But she ain't thinking about her power now. She's thinking about the losses she's had. I'm guessing. I'm going to ask every one of us to make our decisions cleverly. Let us connect to what's important. The Shimon Bar Yochai never fitted in with 24,000 people around him. What it means to be one of 5, but it's 5 out of 24,000. That's a bad percentage. That's called being everybody but you. But actually it's being you, but not being everybody else. You know what it means to be that much against the grain? But he understood what's important. They died in 7-week period. He became one of the greatest sages and Kabbalists ever to live. We've got that inside of us. We've got that ability to clear, to connect, and to be who we want to be. We just get caught on the rubbish. We get caught on the peripheral. We get caught on the things that actually don't really count in life. We forget who we actually are. The single biggest enemy of the Jewish people, and I've said this many times from the pulpit, are not the Nazis, not the Crusaders, not the Egyptians, but me and you. We hate ourselves. We hold ourselves back. We don't give ourselves the strength and dignity we deserve. We don't let ourselves grow to what we can become. And we literally write ourselves off. We don't realize who we are. Comes along Lag BaOmer, smack just after the middle of a true period of mourning. No music, no new clothes, we're mourning. Comes for 24 hours. Hey, chuck it aside and let's jaw, let's have haircuts, let's party. Do you know why? Because in every dark spate has that fire of energy. We got to choose, what do we want? Do we want the fire? Do we want the energy? Or do we want the dark spate? Lag BaOmer, tonight, tomorrow, is the energy of the dark spate. Most of us are in a dark spate. Our businesses are closed, and if they're not closed, the customers aren't coming in. It's tough, folks. It's crap. It's hard. But there's a Lag BaOmer. There's a moment of nuance. There's a moment of that tweak. What do I focus on? My loss, my kids' energy. And the loss is there. Don't ever negate it. You can't negate the loss. I promise you, when she let her kids sing, she didn't forget her loss. And not only that, she probably had the massive anxiety to know she still had to tell her kids. Like, you can't, there was no fake, there's no bullshit in the game. It wasn't a fake story. About a moment, the nuance. And we're living that now. So I beg us all. I Lag BaOmer. Let's light our spark. Let's create our energy. Let's take us to where we want to go. And most importantly, let's not, and I mean not, blow an opportunity. Lag BaOmer is an opportunity. It's not a time. It's an opportunity. Grab it or lose it. I'm begging you. Let's grab it. Let's grab it, because when you grab opportunities, the final moment of that opportunity, no question, is please God, they're coming on Mashiach. We'll play a couple of songs and keep on bringing.
אני מאמין, אמונה שלמה. אני מאמין באמונה, באמונה, אמונה שלמה. בביאת המשיח, בביאת המשיח, אני מאמין, אני מאמין. בביאת המשיח, בביאת המשיח, אני מאמין, אני מאמין. אני מאמין באמונה, באמונה, אמונה שלמה. אני מאמין באמונה, באמונה, אמונה שלמה. בביאת המשיח, בביאת המשיח, אני מאמין, אני מאמין. בביאת המשיח, בביאת המשיח, אני מאמין, אני מאמין. המשיח, בביאת המשיח, אני מאמין, אני מאמין.
How's it, guys? How's it, guys? We've got somebody who's got a bit of guts in life. Who's been prepared to take to the podium and say a few words. It seems like the Animami song of that we just sang that Daniel Singer loved so much inspired him. Though the Kaczynskis get the background of the year for that song, no question about it. So we're going to ask Dan Singer to give us a vote. Are you on, Dan? Let's go.
Am I on?
You're on, baby. Take it away, my boy.
Yeah. Firstly, sorry, that song, as Rabbi Ash said, that's my favorite song. So to everyone, Mashiach now, as Rabbi Ash always speaks about, I think we're living in the times of Mashiach. And something beautiful that Rabbi Libro said the other night in his talk was how we're the last generation of exile, and we're going to be the first generation of Geula. So l'chaim to that, and please God, Mashiach soon in our time. Beautiful talk that I heard tonight by Rav Ephraim Shapiro. So thank you to Rabbi Mofson. I saw him on here as well a while ago for organizing all of it. Rav Ephraim Shapiro spoke about how if you divide up the Omer with Lag BaOmer sitting in the middle at 33, the gematria of Leiv is 32, which is the first 32 days of the Omer, and the gematria of Tov is 17, which would be the last 17 days of the Omer. And together it gives you Lev Tov, a good heart. And I think that's when you reach the essence of Lag BaOmer, the epi sentence, Hod Sheba Hod, where you embrace Aaron, the person of Shalom in your life, is that you need a Lev Tov in this world, and we need a good heart right now. I think more than ever, it's such an opportunity for everyone to have a good heart and connect with people, as Rabbi Ash always says about calling people and making it a thing to get in touch with people that you wouldn't usually contact. We're living in such incredible times where you when you're speaking to a person, you've got an intent of connecting to that person. That's the most incredible feeling. And I feel we sit in an opportunity now, not of a negative time, but I think it's all about perspective. And it's the way you look at our time that we're living in. You can either look at this coronavirus as a time to count down the days and not get it past, or you can make the days count. And I think the Omer gives us that opportunity to count each day and actually make it count, and know, like, counting the days as it goes along, knowing where we're at and looking back at the end of each day and saying, have I made a difference today? Not just to my life, but to the people around me. And you're in such a unique opportunity to work on a Lev Tov during this Omer. 32 plus 17, 49, giving us a Lev Tov. Another question that was raised was, then why does the heart sit on the left side of our body? And if your heart sits on the left side of your body, it's not on the side of Chesed. Chesed is the right side. The left side is the side of Gevurah. And the idea is not, your heart's not about you. It's about the person opposite you, because it doesn't matter who I'm opposite. My heart's going to be reflecting on your right-hand side. The heart's not about keeping for yourself, but it's about giving to other people. So my bracha to everyone is that we build up in Chesed and we build up in goodness and giving during this time. And l'chaim to all, and Mashiach now. Only good things for everyone.
Well, Dan, we're going to play one more song. I'm asking others that are keen to say a few words and others that are keen to give us a vote, not to be shy. We are going to play a song called Maim Rabim. And Maim Rabim, the Rebbe explains in a Maim, and I'll give a quick intro to it. The Rebbe explains that Maim Rabim means that there are great waters that can destroy the world. But Maim at the same time represents physical blessing and physical bracha. If you think about it, every bit of sustenance in the world that we ever get comes out of water. Humans survive fully, purely based on the water we drink. I know my son thinks it's Coke and the odd beer and tequila. Penny for sure thinks that the only sustenance he ever gets is from Coke, Sprite, and cream soda only. But the truth is, water is the only true sustenance of the world. At the same time, everything in the world physically, whether it be the grass, the plants, all form of the inanimate, lives of water. The animal world, if all of us, we love the Kruger. How do the animals survive? They make themselves through water holes. If there's a drought, they find water. If the water dries up, they die. When there's huge water in the park, the animals are mulling all over. Why? Because it's all about water. However, if the water comes in the wrong way and it's a tsunami, we've got it wrong. The bracha of water is not to get rained upon, but get rained upon be'itoy, at the right time, in the right way. And therefore, the holiest prayer of every one of ours is Shema. And in the Shema, every single day, we say in Bahaya that may God give us the rain to water our crops, to water our lives, to give us the bracha that we want. Children, nachas, marriage, wealth, health, you name it, all of it. We want it all. But we don't just want it. We want it to be itoy. We want it at the right time. And therefore, Mayim Rabbi means we want an abundance of water. We want a huge amount, but we want it correctly. We don't want a tsunami. We want to get written off. We want enough water in order to satiate all of us the way we need it. At the same time, we want enough water. And water represents Chokhmah, it represents Torah. Torah comes from heaven down to earth. Water comes from heaven down to earth. How do we get our bracha? How do we get what we want? How do we achieve the goals we want? How do we get the Mayim Rabim focused, connected the right way? When we fill ourselves with what we need. When we fill our bodies, when we fill our veins, our blood, we fill us with the water that counts, with the water of Torah, with the water of Chassidus, with the water of Yiddishkeit, God fills us with the water that we need. And if I beg us all, let's grow a bit. Like Ba'omer, we're on fire. We're united. We're finding light in darkness. How's it done? Through Mayim Rabim. How's it done? It's done through great water, through the Mayim Rabim, the great abundant water, which will shower us, which will ignite us, which will transform us. We now sing the song from Yosef David of Mayim Rabim.
So far, then you fall behind. You start to think that you've wasted all of your time. Here it comes, says stay down, don't climb, don't try, just hide, you're fine. You start a fight, you're messed up, they're right. They come on over to apologize and say hi. Here it comes, says don't reply, don't try, just hide, you're fine. And just know he's not on your side. He's gonna drag you and eat you up alive. But deep within, he's there to make you shine. Reach the one above and really get you high. My lift you up, fuel the love from the one above. If you're treading in raging waters, preventing you from moving onward, shivers going down your spine, heading on the road to the sublime heights. In the end, you'll be crushing mountains. If not for them, oh, none of this would ever happen. And just know he's not on your side. He's gonna drag you and eat you up alive. But deep within, he's there to make you shine. Reach the one above and really get you high. My Yerabim lo yochlu lecha bo yites ha'ava. Yerabim lo yochlu lecha bo yites ha'ava. Let אישון ליל, קבע ירח, מאחורי ענן, שמעת הכל מתחת לחלום, הרגשת זה הזמן, עוד מעיל אל הכל, כמה חפצים בתיק קטן, פתק על המקרר, כתבת, יוצא לדרך, לא יודע לאן, כשזה קורה, זה קורה, לא צריך להתבלבל. לך לך מארצך, ממולדתך, מבית אביך. לך לך לעצמך. וזה נדמה עולם כמנהגו נוהג, והכל קשור, אבל בפנים הכל תלוי ועומד כחוט השערה. אתה יודע מה שהיה לא יחזור להיות אותו הדבר, עברת צד, עכשיו כולם בעבר השני של הנהר. כשזה קורה, זה קורה, לא צריך להתבלבל. לך לך מארצך, ממולדתך, מבית אביך. לך לך לעצמך. לך לך מארצך, ממולדתך, מבית אביך. לך לך
If I drink enough, I'll be able to monologue the whole night. But I'm waiting for other oaks to kick in. And we had one or two people that weren't too shy. So first of all, Ari DaCosta L'chaim. We had L'chaim with him before. We're in for another one. Guys, come. Guys, girls, don't be shy. Have a L'chaim. That's fine. There's a reason why I tied these two songs together. Maim Rabbi means that we get the most extreme brachas I explained before. The question is, how do you do it? How is it? How do you manage to create a world and a life of Maim Rabbi? How do we manage in a time of challenge? And we've all got our challenge. We've all had very, very, very tough moments in our lives. Forget Corona. Corona is like a national, international pandemic. We're all suffering it in a different way. But let's take it out. In our own personal lives, we've had hardships. We've had challenges that have affected us in many different ways. Whether it be losses, whether it be, I don't want to go through them. The question is, how do you achieve the dream you want to achieve in life? How does Maim Rabim occur? It occurs through Lech Lecha. It occurs through that the first command, the first due was ever given in the creation of the world, ever, was given to Avram Avinu, Lech Lecha, Na'artzecha, Leave your birthplace, leave your land, leave your father's home, leave your comfort zone, and go challenge yourself. Those three things. Artacha means your country. Leave your environment. Don't let your country define you. Leave your base of vicha. Leave your comfortable little home. Leave your place that makes you feel like you're so happy. I've got an aircon, I've got a fireplace, I've got a lekker car, I've got the world. Leave that behind. And we base of vicha. Sometimes a home, which is so comfortable, and moladecha, your birthplace, your internal being that you think that I am who I am and I can't change. Lech lecha, leave all three. Don't let your surroundings, your environment, who you are, hold you back to achieve your goals. And therefore it comes from tonight, from Lag BaOmer, is you want Mayim Rav, you want the bracha, you want an influx of water, you want to be rained upon, you want to be wet, you want to be absolutely growing. How's it done? It's done through Lech Lecha. If you prepare to take the step, if you prepare to break your balls, and prepare to break free, and prepare to say, you know what, who cares what anybody around me is going to say? Who cares what my environment? Who cares what I'm born into? Who cares what I'm expected of me? Who cares what everybody wants of me? Who cares what my comfortable home is? If this is my journey and I can achieve my goals, don't hold back. Just go for it, bro. Just go. Don't hold. We are our single biggest, worst enemy in life. There's no one who hates you in the world more than you. Which is why the last two songs, Mayim Rabim. I want to be watered. I want to be drenched. I want to grow. I want to fly. I want to absolutely expand. How's it done? By the next one, Lech Lecha. Your greatness in life will only ever be based on the challenges you prepare to face. When you prepare to break free from your own shackles, when you're prepared to go and grow yourself a set, that are prepared to take you to where you want to go, nothing will hold you back. Kill your enemy. Kill the things that hold you back. Don't let any, we always blame our environment. And the truth is, we've got great excuses. Don't ever get me wrong. We've got brilliant excuses, and we can logically explain it, and we can explain why it's right, and why it's not our fault, and why it's so important. And we probably, logically, you'll probably be right. But it's an excuse. It's an excuse in life. In life, you have options. We beg and we cry and we dream for Lech Lecha. For Mayim Rabim, for the bracha and for the water and for the abundance. But the answer comes through Lech Lecha. The answer comes through being able to do whatever you need and being able to fight your fight. Ari, you've raised your hands. You've obviously got something you want to say. I've unmuted you. What's up?
So no, I was just thinking now, like from a personal perspective, like what's so amazing, like even like with the whole coronavirus going on now, how like before we take for granted what we have, we take for granted the community we have around us, we take for granted being able to go to school every week. Like personally, like I've slacked in like certain things, like being able to go to school, going to school on Shabbos, going like just doing whatever you can, learning as much as you can. And I think now, for me personally, like this whole corona and being isolated completely from everything that we were able to do before has actually brought me so much closer to Hashem and to everything around us. And it's actually made me realize that before we've like, I don't know personally, I don't know about anyone else, but personally, I've really like, I've taken what we've been given like for granted, like with regards to our Yiddishkeit and our community. And it's so good to know, like honestly, like I miss it. It's just, it's so amazing, like realize what you miss, kind of. Like you don't know what you have until it's gone. And now that it's gone, it's just so like you realize how amazing it was.
So I think you're right. I'm going to add to that. I'm going to tell you the one thing that is that it's not gone. what it is that it's different. Our entire life, shul represented our davening, our relationship with God. I would come to shul, I'll talk for our shul. And Ari, I'm talking about our shul as in our shul. Like just, our shul. The way it worked is as follows. It's an interesting reality. Is that you'd come to shul, I'm not saying you, but guys would come, and you'd go to the kitchen, we'd have our lachaims, we'd go to shul and kind of clock in, go back, and like, we'd come in and out. And in a shul environment, we very seldom found ourselves. We socialize, and none of it's wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong. But the idea of being able to daven and to connect to ourselves was missing for a long, long time. What we're in now has taught us that part of our shul experience, part of our davening experience is self-davening and self-experience. And you must go to shul and go to the kitchen and have your lacham. You must go to the Torah club. You must go to the kiddush. It's all important. But in it all, there's happiness in self. And one of the biggest brachas of this entire corona is not so much what we've missed. And I agree we're missing it. Trust me, I'm missing it. Like my life is in my shul. I'm having like proper I'm battling with the fact that I'm not with everybody. But I think the greatest message is that sometimes you got to actually talk to yourself as well. It's not about always davening with everybody around you. Sometimes davening within yourself. And the beauty of Corona has been that the experience of community starts with you as well. Because we will go back to another 1,000 years of shul and of Torah clubs and kitchens. It's coming. And it's coming big. And I made a commitment last week, and I promise you, a lot of you come to my Saturday night jaw, where I get on my roof and I play music and I interrupt the community and legal, illegal, I don't know what it is. But I have fun, and I've got a proper, I feel like I'm like a fickle DJ. I don't know how to do it. So to be honest, I'm not the DJ. I dance like a clown in the front and Mendy's the DJ. But what I have noticed in all of the stories, that I made a commitment that when we do come out, we come out big. I'm going to do one live show. We're going to go find an open roof, and we are going to go so wild that Corona wished it never came. But till then, find you. Don't miss the community. Love the youth. Don't miss what we don't have, because we've had that for years. We'll have it again. In the short period, it's a short period, like 6 months, a year. I think it'll be, whatever it is. If it's a year, 18 months, I think it'll be 18 months, but it's a period. It's tough. Don't get me wrong. But in our lifetimes, it's small. Let's not focus on what we've lost. Let's focus what we have. We have a time to daven on your own. We have a time to commit to you. We all have a chance to find ourselves. And we're not lonely. And it's not because we've got Zoom. We're not lonely because loneliness is in your head. One of the worst, give me a second. Just a disclaimer. There's no scafing here, hey? I'm not. Terrible story that took place in Europe of a guy who took his daughters. It's a grob story. I can't remember where it was, and so somebody will be able to throw it into me while I'm talking. I've forgotten the name of the place. But he took his daughters and he locked them in a basement for their whole lives. And he was a pig, and he raped them, and he had kids with them, and they never, ever, ever saw daylight. Proper never. What he did give them was a television. And I've always felt that and this is my opinion, that the cruelest part of the whole experience of being locked in a basement, in their home, being raped, being beaten, of all of it, and I'm not negating any of that, was that this pig of a father should be butchered, gave them a television. And I'll tell you why. And there's an angle to this, is that prison takes place in your brain. The kids that were born in that basement that knew nothing would have never ever known what they were missing if they never had a television. Their pain of prison was that they saw that there's an outside world that they'd never ever known about. If they thought the entire reality was the basement, they thought that was the world. But to put them in a hole in the dark basement and give them a television where I'm going to butcher you, but this is what you're missing. That's prison. Prison is not where you're locked. Prison takes place up here. And the beauty of Corona is you have a choice. It's a choice that my daughter told in this story. You can find, I'm not talking to you, Ari, I'm talking across. And I think you raised it, and I thank you for it. Whether we can get caught of what we're lacking, we can get caught of what we have, and don't lose what we lack. We've got to appreciate what we've always had and what we don't have now. Don't ever give that up. I don't ever negate it and don't ever take it for granted. But at the same time, in our feeling of what we're lacking, I'm begging you to appreciate at the same time of what we do have. Okay, wake up and done. No pressure, no issue. Shabbos morning, sleep. I don't care when you sleep, but when you wake up, daven. Open your siddur, do a shtickle laning, do your thing, get involved. Don't be shy. Talk to you. Talk to Eitan. Talk to Eitan. I saw Charles just join. Talk to Charles. Talk to everyone. Talk to your, find you. Corona didn't lock us up. It gave us a view and an opportunity once and for all talk to who we are in life. And we so often run away from ourselves because we want to be everywhere else. And now's the time with all the crap we deal with all the sorrows in our life, with all the scared things that we're scared to face. Now Corona's told us, now's your time. Now's your chance. Now it's you. This is you, Tom. Not isolated, but it's you, Tom. And we've had our moments, Brew, and I'm going to keep talking to you, Ari, because you happen to pick up your hand. Always one thing about if I'm breaking, always find one oak you can pick on. I'm not picking on you because me and you have a similar past. And I know your challenge of the last 18 months. And I've spoken in the past had similar challenges. Now's your time, boy. Now, anybody knows what I'm talking about, you know what I mean. Now's your time. Now's not that we're isolated and we're missing, and we are. And God forbid you should ever say, I'm comfortable, I'm not missing. May you always miss. May you always feel the challenge. May you always desire and burn and cry to connect back to the community. At the same time, never, ever, ever lose what's important. And we are important. And Dave Slaughter always uses the analogy when you're on a plane, and none of us listen because we've flown too many times. And they give the emergency, they bring out the cord and how you buckle your seatbelt and pull down your things. But there's one thing that's most fascinating of all, when they tell you that when you're running out of oxygen, the plane's on its way down in the ocean, and you've put on your vest. I always felt that I've never understood why they got those floater vests. It's to find your body. You're not going to survive a plane crash with a floater vest. Not going to happen. It's there to find you. But they always tell you put your oxygen mask on first. You know why? You got your kid next, your child, the people you love most next to you. Put on your oxygen mask first and then your child. You know why? Because if you're not healthy, the child doesn't have you. And that's a chap. Coronavirus is a break in life for us to put in our oxygen. God said, you know what? You spent your whole life giving everybody oxygen. I'm giving you a chance to put on your own. Yes, when yours is on, you're going to put on your kids. You're going to put them, if you're sitting in 32A, you're putting 32B when you're finished. But this is a 32A moment. There's a time for us to put in our mask, time for us to do our thing. It's a time for us to connect to ourselves, and we must miss shul, we must miss community, you must never forget it. But in that miss, never forget the me and the you. Never forget the opportunity, and the opportunity to connect to who we are. So Ari L'chaim, to the entire crew L'chaim, I love all of you. We're going to play another one or two songs. We're going to keep bringing. If anybody else wants to pick up the hands or unmute, go for it. Don't be shy. I'm here till Thursday morning.
כמה ימים את הולכת בבית, פרצוף נפט, השקט הזה עוד יגמור אותנו. הוא מת כבר, לדעת מי נגד מי, איתי או נגדי אנו. קצת רחוקים, לא משתפים אז רבים כמו ילדים. ודוגרי אין לי ראש למלחמות, רוצה להיזרק איתך מתחת לשמיכות. צמוד צמוד כפיות, רק אתמול סיכמנו שהכל שטויות שטויות שטויות. כבר כמה ימים את נראית לי אחרת, שלום שלום כזה, אני לא רגיל לזה, ונראה לי שאני לא הופכת שלמה עם זה. ותכלס כל זה תקוע, לא חייכתי שבוע, ואם לא מספיק לך אז כתבתי שיר על זה. כי דוגרי אין לי ראש למלחמות, רוצה להיזרק איתך מתחת לשמיכות. צמוד צמוד כפיות, רק אתמול סיכמנו שהכל שטויות שטויות שטויות. למלחמות, רוצה להיזרק איתך מתחת לשמיכות. צמוד צמוד כפיות, רק אתמול דיברנו והכל שטויות שטויות שטויות. רוצה להיזרק איתך מתחת לשמיכות. צמוד צמוד כפיות, רק אתמול דיברנו והכל שטויות שטויות שטויות. כבר שנים שאני לא דומעת, כבר שנים שבלי סיבה אני מוצא את עצמי מתגעגעת, מחפשת לי תשובה. תראה אותי, תיתן לי יד, אני אחת שמוכנה להשתנות. תבוא תאיר לי את ימיי באור יפה גנוז כמעט מיליון דורות. ואז אני אהיה כמו שמש לעולם, אהיה כמו ציפור נודדת במרחב. אתה תהיה לי מלך לעולם. מודה אני לך על דרך שנשבעת לי. ועכשיו כשיש קצת אור בחדר, ועכשיו כשיש אותך, אני פתאום בוכה ומתפללת, מפחדת שתשכח. תראה אותי, תיתן לי יד, אני אחת שמוכנה להשתנות. תבוא תאיר לי את ימיי באור יפה גנוז כמעט מיליון דורות. ואז אני אהיה כמו שמש לעולם, אהיה כמו ציפור נודדת במרחב. אתה תהיה מלך לעולם. מודה אני לך על דרך את הזמן אני לא ממהרת ונשארת לעמוד ואנגן כאן על מפתן הדלת עד שתצא אחר כבוד ותיקח אותי, תיתן לי יד אתה אחד שמסוגל להתגלות תבוא תאיר לי את ימיי באור יפה גנוז כמעט מיליון דורות ואז אני אהיה כמו שמש לעולם אהיה כמו ציפור נודדת חופשייה אתה תהיה לי מלך לעולם אהיה כמו ציפור נודדת חופשייה אתה תהיה לי מלך לעולם מודה אני לך על דרך שנשבעת לי
Sorry, guys, we're having another technical issue for a change. This does happen in the world of technology. I actually don't know what the hell. My whole computer's gone black. So I'm going to wait for Mendy to see if he can actually see what's going on here or not. We're coming back. Happy back.
Dis-moi si tu veux faire un tour à deux, danser sur la mer, enjamber les rivières, les rayons du soleil, entre les arbres sommeil, n'attends pas que demain, la vie passe entre nos mains, comme les oiseaux en l'air, chantent des mystères, on a tout pour plaire, être mieux qu'hier, on ira très haut, nos sacs sur le dos, on verra sur la terre où se cache la lumière. Suis-moi s'il te plaît, c'est facile, tu sais, laisse le vent venir, te souffler l'avenir, enflammé de bonheur, on brûlera nos heures à courir dans ces champs, de fou rire et de chants, comme les oiseaux en l'air, chantent des mystères, on a tout pour plaire, être mieux qu'hier, on ira très haut, nos sacs sur le dos, on verra sur la terre où se cache la lumière. Comme les oiseaux en l'air chantent des mystères, on a tout pour plaire, être mieux qu'hier. On ira très haut, nos sacs sur le dos, on verra sur la terre où se cache la lumière, 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 où se cache la lumière.
Oaks, l'chaim, l'chaim. Darren. L'chaim, my brother. Darren, l'chaim, boy. Have I muted you? I can't hear you. Can you hear me? So we've come to the end of the evening. I can't hear you there. I want to tell everybody, Zalman, Darren, whoever's left, I can't see on the screen anymore. I think it's 2 people. There might be 1 or 2 others. L'chaim to all. May we only have simcha, bracha, and good things. May we reach our goals. May we achieve our goals and be who we are. Thank you, everyone, for joining. It's been a great evening. Thank you. Oh, Berno, I see you as well. I don't know. As I say, we've had a couple of technical glitches along the evening. It's one of those things. You know, that's how the world goes. But at the end of the day, shkoyach, shkoyach. Hope you all enjoyed it. Love you all. See you all. Have a good night. And one more l'chaim.